Good evening or morning, ladies and gentlemen.
You said that like you're some kind of good evening. Good evening. Dracula, good evening.
Good evening.
Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to the midweek gaming. I'm tired.
Sleepy.
Yeah, I know. Welcome to Midweek Gaming. I'm Nick over on not on the other side of the comms. Actually, for once, I am within striking distance of this man, so I can punch him if he says something
Technically,
stupid.
this is the second time we've done this now.
It's the second time we've done this. It's a bit more.
The first time we've saved it, and it's actually on this very laptop still.
The shitty laptop.
It's actually also on the channel.
It is. You should go watch that video.
You can't. It's unlisted.
I thought we had the one fixed up. Oh no, because we had to redo it because everything fricked up on us. Yes. So hopefully this one works in. We're trying a bit of a different setup. Actually, we're not doing any video right now, so that's going to be put in after production.
Yeah, this is complete audio. I'm going to be going and recording some video later and slapping the two together. But for the moment, you don't know what you're, going on things. Yes.
Great transition there,
yes.
buddy.
We're doing Destiny, so right now you're probably seeing Destiny content. So let's get into that.
Yeah. So everyone said on the community, I mean, let's be honest here. Everyone's echoed this statement from here to Kingdom Come. Dato said it, Bife said it, I'm sure Astrocross has said it.
Yep.
And that is about the starter pack that was on the store of, I think, Eververse. No, it was on the actual stores of the
Steam,
PlayStation, and Xbox.
It was, I believe, under the DLC section.
Mm-hmm. But has been delisted now. And if you haven't heard about this controversy, and if you're part of the Destiny community, wow, I'm surprised. Everyone has been saying it. But let me catch you up then. So recently, Destiny had the launch of the new season. As of recording this video, it was actually about, 3 days ago? Something like that. On Tuesday, when the new season of The Wish came out. And a bunch of things came with that, but what we're talking about today is the aforementioned starter pack, which came in. Destiny generally does these things where, recently with the seasons of the last 5 or 6 seasons, they've had like emote bundle where it's like, here's a thematic emote for the season, and maybe some maybe some bright dust along the side.
Yeah, there's also the Avion emote, the chair throne emote as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what we're focusing on today is one particular starter pack that came in this season, and oh boy, was it received as poorly as it can humanly imagine. For those who don't know, the starter pack included a few weapons, 3 in fact, as well as 1 ship, 1 sparrow, and 1 ghost shell.
3 cosmetic items, 3 exotics, and 4 materials.
Yeah, 4 materials of, I would argue, all rather useless variety.
Well, 2 are useful. 1 extremely useful.
I mean, depending on how much you play.
Golf ball is always useful.
I mean, golf ball is always useful depending on how much you use it, though. But anyways, I mean, I have too many golf balls, man. I got a whole freaking club set. But anyways, the point of this is that it went over poorly. It was priced at $20, I believe. Yeah, $20. No, $15. My mistake, as of the articles I'm reading. We have articles linked in the description of what we're going to be referencing. We've got a Forbes article, we have a GameSpot article, and we have a PlayStation blog article talking about the Witcher set, which we'll use into a jumping off point later in the video. But we'll get to that. So anyways, as mentioned before, the low price of $15 can net you 3 exotics of middling variety. I mean, we have Traveler's Chosen in there, which is it's a decent... It's a sidearm.
It's one of those exotics that there are some people who use it and they're pretty good and cracked with it, but it's not something everyone's going to use, so most people just leave it in the vault and it rusts away.
Yeah, but it's mostly a PvP exotic. I mean, I remember when it first came out, I was uninterested in it when it first came out, and all these years later, I'm still not all that interested in it. So, which is a shame, because technically it's a souped-up version of a weapon you get at the very beginning of the D2 vanilla campaign, but I digress. Then you have the Trace Rifle Ruinous Effigy. Ruinous was decent when it first came out, don't get me wrong, but that was a while ago, and many nerfs ago.
Yeah.
Now it's a gimmick weapon. It's nice. It can be busted out when you need a void trace. It's fun to play with. Don't get me wrong, it still is. But
there are other trace rifles that can fill in that trace rifle slot way better. So
yeah, it's more of a meme weapon at this point. Honestly, I think I can only speak.
The people that use it only use it to go and create the little void orbs, and that's it.
I once tried to use that in Crucible. Actually, it was an interesting experience. But anyways. And then we have Sleeper, arguably the most useful thing in the bundle, and depending on who you ask, it's arguably not even that useful. I know there are some people in the comments who are now trying to kill me because I said Sleeper is not useful. Don't get me wrong, it's still very useful if you do things like raid runs and stuff like that. It's still very decent.
It's good for the end game content, but keep in mind the amount of people who actually go to end game content.
But that's a whole other discussion.
That's a different discussion.
I mean, I still use it. I mean, I'll probably use it maybe this weekend if I do a Last Wish run. Definitely going to use it on Kali and Shiro-Chi. It's great for hitting their heads.
But it's an important note because that's the big thing when you want to make starter packs and starter bundles and stuff like that. You do it to go and set up a new player who's willing to pay for it to be able to get to that end game content a little sooner. So that kind of plays into the fact of, okay, well, does this actually help a player get into that end game?
Right, and here's the thing, right? From what I get, most of the anger around this, and maybe I'm just misinterpreting, is mostly around the resources, not so much the weapons. Don't get me wrong, the weapons are pretty meh as is. Mm-hmm. So marketing this as something that's going to jumpstart players is misadvertising at best if you ask any veteran.
And mind you, there's a lot of games out there that go and allow you to basically pay for a weapon to be able to use it, so like for free to unlock it through paying it. So that's
most of Destiny's weapons are grinding.
Yeah, most of it's grinding anyways. So yeah.
Either mostly from the Monument. Like, you can buy all of this stuff from the Monument.
Yeah.
I know you can buy Ruinous and Traveler's Chosen, I believe also Sleeper. But anyways, because of that, it received a massive ton of bad press. I mean, like I said, you're getting what? You're getting one legendary prism, which, I mean...
it's really weird. You're getting a fair amount, about like... What is it, half the amount of glimmer or a fourth of the amount of glimmer you can totally
I think it's about half, because about 2,500 is about... Yeah, 2,500 is 250,000. That's the right
So
word.
Yeah, you're getting basically about half the total amount of glimmer you can hold. You're getting one golf ball. You're getting 40 shards and...
50 shards.
50? I thought it was 40.
No, 50.
Okay. Well, 50 shards, which also can equate to 5 extra prisms on top of the 1 prism that you're getting. Which, let's be honest here, this is a little weird. You'd think maybe you'd get 5 prisms as well alongside it, because then that way, if someone really wanted to, they could go and get potentially 3 golf balls out of it.
I mean, it's not so much in the currency conversion people are pissed off. It's just what you're getting in general. Right?
It's what you're getting in general, but it's just my side point. It's a little weird how they decided to give you 1 and 1.
Yeah, that's true in a way. But anyways, like I said, it's not even that cheap either. Like,
no.
This is bargain bin stuff in the Destiny universe.
This is nearly the price of a season. Right now, Season of the Wish Silver Bundle is $18.99 here in Canada. So that's like, if this is in U.S. currency, I would say U.S. currency that 15 would be probably what, 16?
16, maybe 15, depending on conversion.
Conversion wise, I'd say 16 though. U.S. Canadian dollar is about an extra $1.
$1.02 depending on where you go. Yeah. But yeah, no. That is that for just silver though? It's been years since I've looked at the bundles. Is that actually for a season?
We're looking at the DLC bundles right now. Mm-hmm. So we've got Throne of
that's an
Earthion, the emote for $18.99 as well.
But let me just look at the Season of the Wish silver bundle. That is for the season, or is that just for some other stuff? Let us see here. No, that is just for some bundles and stuff.
Yeah, that's just the silver bundle.
Technically, what you should be looking at is a season pass. That is what we need to be looking at here. Or annual pass. That's what we need to be looking at here. Generally, they don't sell those separately, but I digress. But
Yeah, I don't see
the
pass.
point is that it is not a low price. It is pretty steep, depending on what you're getting, and it caused an uproar. Datto actually quite infamously, started ending some of his videos with a card literally saying that, "Congratulations, Bungie. Hope you enjoy all the free press and bad videos you're going to get out of this. I give up. You never listen. Hope it was worth a few grand at least," which perfectly encapsulates a lot of people's sentiment with Bungie at the moment, and just in general.
Help me out here. Is Datto the guy who goes and constantly does the "I'm Mr. Dallas" meme?
I don't know about the meme. He's
No.
the guy that does the vault critiques, and he's
Right.
the PvP guy.
Okay. Yeah. There's like a number of them I watch, and I'm trying to remember who's who again.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, just
it's-
Datto aside.
yeah, that all aside, like I actually took a look at some of the posts. Some people posted some good reviews, but the good reviews were also some of them a little memey and jokey. But a lot of people posted extremely negative reviews, and it was. Yeah.
Long story short, it got memed to hell and back.
Yeah, it got memed, it got criticized,
That too, to
a
hell
lot of
and back.
words were spoken, all sorts of stuff happened.
Everyone was just tired of Bungie's stuff, and to Bungie's, well, I don't want to say credit, they kind of had to at this point. But a few days after, because remember, this only came out as of Tuesday as of recording this on Friday, so let's say Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, 3 days.
3 to 4 days.
Yeah, 3 to 4, depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled it from stores. And actually, I think it was yesterday, too, so I think it was even less.
I think they pulled it sometime later in the day yesterday.
Yeah.
So
So technically, maybe only 2 days, not even that. They yanked it from stores. And what I find hilarious about this is that Bungie actually did speak on the matter. They didn't just randomly take it down and said nothing. They actually said that they removed it, and get this, because it failed to bring joy. Bring joy in quotes.
Ah,
Bring joy, right? Yeah, to the executives.
interesting. Yeah, let's take a previous look back at what was it? Their profit margins that they looked at. It was like down 40.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is, like, with the whole recent 8% layoff that they had at their studio, a good chunk of that being the community team, all I'm gonna say is, like, I never like people losing their jobs. I've lost my job before due to COVID and stuff like that back in, I don't want to say back in the day, but it happened. I can't say COVID. That's the C word on YouTube. Demonetized. Oh, wait, we're not monetized.
Microbe boy.
Nope, there goes our sponsorship money.
Microbe boy.
Our non-existent sponsorship money. But, yeah, no, I got laid off before because of the C word. So I kind of know how it is like, right? And I'll never say that it's nice to lose people's jobs. But all I'm going to say is that in retrospect, taking all this into account, community team, you might have dodged a bullet with this one. Because if you still worked at Bungie, you'd be the ones where all the angry posts would be directed at.
Everyone would be directing that anger towards you.
So maybe you dodged a bullet here.
And I'll say this for what it is. Every single community game developer who goes and kind of publicly like connects with the community kind of gives them a double-edged sword of, all right, I'm showing my support to the community. I'm kind of going out there and talking to them. But you're also going and putting yourself in the line of fire of direct criticism.
Yeah.
So
again, it was criticized for bad onboarding. The resources are just not that great. The exotics are mid at best. And for $15, which ain't cheap.
no.
And so they removed it, again, for failing to, bring joy. You can't see it, but I am quoting in the air. Yeah, bring joy to the executives, I'm sure. But here's the thing, right? Regardless of what you say about, this is kind of one of those weird scenarios. Recently, the game actually released another collab. Bungie's been doing this a lot with other franchises.
Other franchises and games.
The first one they did back, I think, 2 years ago now, maybe if I'm wrong, a year ago maybe, was Fortnite. That was an interesting set of skins they brought in. Didn't really bring anything other than skins in, and that was actually a cross collab, so that happened. The second one they did was with Assassin's Creed, and Assassin's Creed actually had we had the Assassin's Creed set, which again, as I mentioned, had the set of armor for Hunters, Warlocks, and Titans, but it also brought in a Ghost Shell, which I actually really like. Never got it, but I really like because I like the Assassin's Creed, and I'm nerdy that way. Say what you will. As well as a ship, and I believe, yes, a Sparrow as well. Interesting stuff. And the third collab they have most recently, and this is the one where they've actually, I think, invested the most into it, and that is the Witcher games, where they have the collab with CD Projekt Red. And that actually brought the usual sets of new armors for the Titan, Warlock, and Hunter again, new Sparrow, new Ghost Shell, new ship, but now they're going even more. They're bringing in new emotes. They're even bringing in emblems. Like, it seems that every single one of these collabs are just adding more and more stuff into the
putting
collab.
more into it, yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense in a way. Like,
and also keep in mind, this is also kind of coming from the same company who went and said, nobody's wearing the seasonal artifact armor, despite the fact that they're also going and releasing it alongside these new armors that connect to other games and stuff. So people are probably going to go with the cool, fancy new armor that goes and refers to their other little game that they like.
No comment, but
no comment. I'm just saying, you release cool shit alongside the regular shit, people are probably going to go with the cool shit right off the bat.
Which leads us into a nice little segue here of us talking about monetization in Destiny in general. I believe Astrocross once made a video a few months back basically saying that Destiny's become a microtransaction-ridden hell.
Yeah.
There's even some people who jokingly refer to Destiny as pay-to-win because every once in a blue moon there are bordering on like pay-to-win stuff in like some...
Anything from abilities to weapons. Sometimes there's something in the game that is just dominate.
I wasn't going to go with that. I was going to say more along the lines of there are certain skins every once in a while with weapons that give weird unofficial advantages to weapons like actual red dot sights to some guns.
Yeah, no, I can actually comment on that. There's Dead Man's Tale. When the skin came out, it was something that everyone went and said, yeah, no, get the skin because it makes Dead Man's Tale a lot easier to use with the sights.
Mm-hmm. Again, I say bordering on pay to win because technically you can get these things with Bright Dust as well, which you can earn game as well as through the season
It's just
pass,
that requires you to wait for who knows how long for it to actually go on the Bright Store. Sometimes it doesn't happen until the end of the season. Sometimes it happens the next season. Sometimes it's the middle of the season.
Anyways, point is the kind of transactions in Destiny, it's getting more and more. And again, we've done videos in the past, I believe, debating on like why Destiny has monetizations. We even brought up it extensively when we were doing our Lightfall review of the game, why that happened, why the whole controversy of Lightfall happened, at least our opinion. Looking back on the whole business with Lightfall, I think we hit the nail on the head unofficially, just my personal speaking, that's not even me tooting my own horn. I think just speaking from a business standpoint, I think we got it pretty good, though, let's be honest. With corporations being corporations, they're never going to say one way or the other whether we're right or wrong until, like, maybe 20, 30 years after in, like, you know, dev interviews from, like, retired developers, like, with things like Half-Life's creation.
Yeah.
But, again, that is just us spitballing. The point of the matter here is that, you know, when it comes to things like, a lot of people joke with the Witcher stuff, right? That the Witcher the Witcher not emblems, but armors, right? They look really cool, and I've seen them. They look really freaking cool. I like the Witcher games. I've played The Witcher 3. It's a great game. But I will say, a lot of people are joking, being like, hey, I'd buy this armor if it weren't so expensive. And I can't see that point. And don't get me wrong, I don't like defending corporations here. I think we've established on that channel, I don't like doing that.
I don't like corporatism, but I also like corporatism.
But here's the thing. I will say that when it comes to crossovers, there's a bit more room to defend the price tag, not from Bungie's side, but from the corporation side. Remember that when it comes to these things, we do have to deal with franchising fees, and depending on the franchise...
No matter what, when it comes to a situation like that, there's a neutral deal where an amount of money made on one side is given to the other.
Right.
So, like, take the Fortnite one, for example. I'd be willing to bet for Fortnite itself, whatever amount of money they made off of those skins in their game went towards Bungie, and whatever amount of money made on Bungie's end on Destiny went over to Fortnite.
Maybe, but I'm more referencing the fact that, like, just having these things in their games at all, there are franchising fees. There are flat fees just associated with it. So there is a bit more pressure to make ends meet here. So I can be a bit more defensive with the price tag of, these kinds of franchise agreements and these kinds of collabs, because again, there is a bit more of a flat rate to it. But when we talk about things like the starter pack, which is made by Bungie, created by things, they're pocketing all of this, so it's a lot less defensible.
It's just Bungie taking specific content that's already in the game that has existed for whatever amount of time and just setting it up with a price tag.
Honestly.
So,
I honestly hope, I wish that they could just give the money back to whoever bought the starter pack. I feel bad for anyone who did, because my man, my woman, my person, you're not getting much out of it.
You're sorry. It's not worth it. Like, we talked about it earlier today. Like, in more ways than one, you're better off taking that money and buying a season itself. Because in a season, you're not only getting all the unlocking all those cosmetics that come with the season. You're unlocking all the weapons that come with it, the activities that come with it.
Well, the activities are free.
Still, specific point, you're unlocking everything that you would unlock with that season, along with an exotic and any other things that come along with it.
Yeah, you're better off just buying the annual pass and getting the seasons out of it, because I don't think you can buy the season.
And that's not even adding into the season tab, where you're also unlocking that second bar of materials and whatnot that you unlock there as well.
Exactly.
So you're getting a whole bunch of materials from that more than you would there.
Right. And it's for, and you got to work for it, whereas this is more instant gratification. But again, you're getting more out of it. So when you do the dollars and cents, you're getting more for your buck, especially if you're someone who plays Destiny at least casually.
Yeah, if you're playing casually and you play maybe once every day, or hell, even once...
That's not a casual, friend.
Well, no, by once I'm referring to an hour. Let's say you play an hour every day or an hour every other day, you're still playing a fair amount of time, that which you would likely get to your level 70 in the season pass or something more. It's not too hard to level it up very quickly, especially considering the fact that you go and have the seasonal challenges that go and automatically rank you up one or even more times.
That's true. As far as I played a lot of MMOs, I still play a lot of MMOs. I hot swap depending on if I get bored. Sometimes I go to Genshin. Sometimes I go to Honkai. Sometimes I go to frickin' Warframe. I hop back and forth depending on what I'm feeling. And I will say, I even play Sea of Thieves. I will say it's probably one of the easier season passes to get, because again, those seasonal challenges do give you quite a bit of bang for your buck comparative to other season pass models in the MMO space, which has become the norm. Let's be honest.
I'll make this point real quick. If you're ever hurting for levels, trust me, just do the seasonal challenges.
You'll be fine.
I was rank 40 last season, only a few days before the next season, and I got myself to, I think, 70 in no time flat by just doing a combination of challenges and strikes. So
it's not hard to make up lost time.
It really isn't. Trust me, even if you're a casual player, even if you're someone like me who spent the majority of last season not playing, you can still catch up pretty quickly.
But again, that kind of goes back to the whole monetization in Destiny 2. I am still at a point where I can tolerate it, but then again, I have a pretty high tolerance with a lot of things. But I will say that it is getting to a point where, we're in a position right now, just in gaming culture, where the live service bubble is bursting. It is burst. It has burst.
Yeah,
so
it's
people
going.
are becoming a lot less tolerant of the tricks and tactics of live services.
People aren't enjoying the fact that sometimes there are moments where you are not getting what you've paid for, or you are not getting your bang for your buck.
And remember, there also is the point where it's I almost struggled to say the live service bubble has burst, because I think it's just the companies finally cluing into the fact that the market is saturated and people are just tired of it.
Yeah, people are getting tired that every single company is doing it.
Well,
so-
maybe that is birthing. I think it's more along the lines of I think companies are cluing into the fact that live service games are not the license to print money that I think every game company wished and hoped they would be.
Yeah, it's not the same anymore, mainly because of the fact that there's so many companies doing it. So
Right.
the overall market for those people paying for it is kind of spaced out and separated.
In a way, the live service industry is almost a
It-
evolution of the MMO space in a way.
In a way, it's also killing itself
Well,
because
all
of the fact that
industries
it,
do that to some extent over
yes,
saturation.
but in this case, it's the biggest case of it because of the fact that they're saturating the market with so many choices.
That's the thing, right? Like, I just read last night while I was watching Game Ranks that, well, heard is perhaps more accurate, that Sony is pulling back on like 16 of their live service games that they had scheduled for like 2024, 25, 26, and they're only maybe doing half of them now
Yep.
instead. And maybe this will be a case where Sony is slowly pulling back it until they eventually just quietly cancel them all, and maybe those last half are just them testing the waters, or who knows, maybe it is technical reasons because they said they're pulling them back due to quality concerns. So we'll see how that plays out.
We'll see where that quality is.
But again, it is that kind of thing where companies are cluing in that the live service industry does not print money. It never has printed money. It was just a misconception, and I think companies are finally realizing that after, their stock prices tank for the 9th time. Yet, we say to Bungie, you never learn, but the games industry in general just sometimes does not learn. It sometimes takes lawsuits before they actually start learning that maybe this isn't working.
Like, you've got businessmen who don't learn, you've got corporations that don't learn, and then you got the entire industries itself that do not learn.
I mean, again, going back on a side point, like, again, we're kind of, this is a side tangent, I will admit at this point, but I was literally listening to Game Ranks last night, and I literally heard that word came out that, things like the Saints Row game that everyone hoped would be the next big reboot of the Saints Row series. I never played the original Saints Rows. It looked really fun.
I've played the Saints Row 3 and 4, and I've even played for a short period of time Saints Row 2 as well. The Saints Row games are very nice. Like, they're very enjoyable games.
That.
No, but that's the thing. Like, they're very enjoyable games. And then the recent one came out, and the formula changed so much that it doesn't exactly feel like you're playing the same franchise anymore.
Well, that's the point, right? That's what I heard, right? Because the story goes, right, what I heard is that the actual devs wanted to make a game centered on the original cast and make the game effectively a remake as you'd imagine a remake to be. Mm-hmm. Same vein, same concept, remade. It was the big shots, the suits at Deep Silver, who actually said, no, we want all the, the buzzwords that kids like. We want all these cringy jokes. Yeah, we saw how that ended.
Yeah, we want to go and make our game franchise fall in line with this stuff. Despite the fact that the game franchise never would fit within that shit, because trust me, it was a very rated, like, adult-rated game.
They just wanted to copy things like, the Disney and Marvel jokes that are, again, you're kind of grinding on people now.
Yeah.
Which kind of shows that they didn't really read the writing on the wall. And again, there are cases of this in the industry all over the place. Hell, a more recent example is Redfall. I actually admit, I tried Redfall recently when it was on sale for like deep sale on Black Friday. Don't judge me. It was like $20. Not even that. I think it was like $15 actually. So I decided to try it. And yeah, it's it's not I've played worse, trust me, and that may sound shocking, but trust me, I've played worse. but
it's
you can certainly see that it was not something they wanted to build. No. And even Falcon over at Game Ranks, he even joked about it because he even said in the beginning, it feels like a game that they did not want to make. But someone over at, Arcane higher-ups was like, yeah, we're going to get into the live service. It's going to be great. And the Arcane devs were like, no, we're not. And word came out, guess what? No, they didn't. And guess what the suit said? Yes, you do. So he was laughing out loud, saying, called it, but,
Yeah, and in the end of it all, they closed down. So, what does that tell you?
No, the game didn't close down.
No, the company.
Arcane still exists.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, people were reporting that they closed.
Then you reading the wrong articles, friend. They still exist.
Wow. Okay. At the very least, they've
Arcane
had to...
Austin closed, but Arcane itself still exists.
Okay. Well, still, at the very least, some big heavy hit had to have happened to them then.
Well, yeah, I believe it was a massive tank in stock price, but
stock that comes naturally with this kind of thing,
but again, it just kind of shows you that in the industry, games do not learn, and we're at a point right now where again, live services aren't printing; they're not the license to print money. And the companies are finally realizing that after the umpteenth time their stock prices went into the negative digits.
I'll say this because it's a fair point. There's a reason why people who enjoy Halo would prefer their next Halo title to be Halo. There's a reason why Call of Duty fans prefer their next title be actually Call of Duty. There's a reason why people who enjoy franchises to prefer their franchise to, at least for the most part, stay in vein of the rest of the franchise. And there's a reason why every time they deviate, things go awry.
Well, that's a whole other can of worms.
That it is, but still.
But the point is, again, we have different opinions on the matter.
Yes.
But the point is, again, it is interesting. Long story short, Bungie pulled it. They said it wasn't meeting their expectations because it wasn't providing enjoyment or whatever that guy said before.
Yeah.
Which is just laughable. I mean, they can't exactly say that it wasn't making the money, right?
No.
But, hand in the cookie jar. But, it's worth echoing. Like I said, it's a sentiment worth echoing that this is not something Bungie should be allowed to get away with.
No.
And if anything, the whole reason we kind of brought up Arcane as well is kind of showing that there is a difference between what the suits want and what the devs want. The devs want, the devs, the teams, the voice actors even, they want to make good things. No one wants to slap their name on a bad product.
Yeah, they tend to actually be taking part in the game, in the community and all that, and actually seeing, what some of them are saying makes sense.
I mean, again, it even goes back to one of the things that one of the, I think either former Bungie devs or current Bungie devs said about some of the people that are still working in the community team about, I think it was not Cosmo, but a few other guys at Bungie who are still left, and she claims that, this dev, she says they advocate for players way more than anyone knows, and a lot of Bungie's bad decisions are diverted because of them. So it really goes to show you that, again, what the devs want and what the company wants are very different things most of the time. And I think it's worth remembering that when going forward. And this is kind of the moral of the story with the whole Bungie debacle, right? This was not made by the developers. This was not made by the ground floor developers, by the community teams, by, whatever.
This was very well likely the suits going and saying, hey, we haven't been making the money we want. Let's pull something together real quick.
Yeah, this is definitely someone in, Joe in accounting saying, the numbers aren't looking good, guys. Make me more money.
Yeah.
They got to buy their 9th Ferrari or something.
And keep in mind, like I said earlier, Lightfall itself is... What was the projections? The 40% projections was for what? This expansion or next expansion?
For what?
The 40% lower expectation.
I
can't remember, but
probably next. Well, no, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say
because Lightfall lost them a lot of people, but a lot of people are also projecting that maybe Destiny might be done by the end of it. I agree with Bife and his mentality when he says, "I don't think it's wise to bet against Bungie." This makes them way too... It's kind of the old argument of would Warframe die after a certain point? No. It makes DE way too much money. And the same case, I think, applies with Destiny. It makes Bungie way too much money. And, more importantly, it makes Bungie the only money they have right now. Yeah. So they can't afford to shut down Destiny, because where are they going to pay their bills now? Sony might be footing some of the bill now, but let's be honest, they probably still have contractual obligations to fulfill. And let's be honest, it looks better to investors having a working, active, and more importantly, profitable product than nothing. So,
All I'm gonna say is I have a feeling this isn't going to be the last we see of this kind of
no, it definitely
thing.
won't.
Because as of lately, profit-wise, for both this expansion and potentially next expansion, are going to look very shady and not right to Bungie higher-ups. And chances are we're going to see a lot of this, especially by the tail end of this season and probably next expansion as well.
I myself have a more optimistic projection. I think I kind of get why Bungie did this. Do I condone it? Absolutely not. But again, as a guy with a business background, as well as a coding, as well as game dev background, I can kind of see why they did this. Again, do I condone it? Absolutely not. But I do see why they did it. Bungie's in a position right now where, yes, Papa Sony is paying the bills. However, they are in the middle of not only keeping Destiny going, which, remember, live services ain't cheap, but they're also in the process of creating Marathon, which arguably probably also ain't cheap. They're up for cash right now, and right now they can use all the money they can get. So, if they can get more money off of Marathon, they can get more money for Marathon, then they're going to take it. This 8% cut off a team is actually an interesting concept as well. It's actually something that might be something I heard of recently in my own class, funny enough, in leadership, which is effectively a concept called cleaning house, where the team effectively flushes out the old and gets rid of the new to basically rebuild back up. Unfortunately, as you can probably imagine, massive house cleaning never comes with good optics. But again, that last part's just me spitballing of why they had the 8% cut. That's just me spitballing. As for the actual creation of the starter pack, like I said, it's probably just Bungie up for cash because Bungie has had that feeling. Paul Tassi himself has even put this up for a while now. It's felt for a while that Bungie, to one extent or another, feels like they're hard up for cash. And I feel like, again, that partially comes back to developing Marathon, and that ain't cheap.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into it, but I've got a lot to say about Marathon, and yeah, Bungie's gonna have an interesting time with it. That's all I'm gonna say there. Because yeah,
my stance on Marathon is complicated. I personally probably won't buy it because I don't really do arena shooters, so that's my 2 cents. Unless it's really good, maybe I'll give it a try then. But by and large, probably not. But we'll see how it shakes up. But anyways, we'll close up on that note because our timer says 38 minutes, and you're probably sitting there going, "Shut up." So we'll leave on that note. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Again, it's longer-winded content than we usually do, but I think this enjoys a greater deep dive because, like I said, everyone's talked about the whole controversy around the starter pack already, so it's no real use in reiterating it because you've probably heard it 1,000 times from 1,000 other people. So it's probably more worth it if we sit down together and we go into more of the deep dive of, maybe
how
why
everything kind of really connects and intertwines with one another when you really think about it.
Yeah,
everything is impacting one another.
Yeah, this show is unscripted. This show is, well, I don't want to say unbiased. It's definitely not unbiased.
We biased as hell, brother.
Everyone is biased as hell. But
we biased so hard he explodes.
And there goes the sound quality. But anyways, this show is unscripted, but we tend to like to go into the more deep dive of gaming. So if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, leave comments. Let us know, actually. What do you think about the Bungie starter pack? I imagine your comment ain't going to be nice because most people's comment towards it ain't going to be nice.
I mean, no matter what, when you're going and giving away materials like that, it's not going to be fun.
But, let us know. What exactly were your feelings about the impression? What do you think about Bungie? Do you think it's, them harder for cash, or do you think this is just them being corporate greed? Let us know in the comments. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. Have a good night, good morning, whatever, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody!